You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
وتكلم من هناك لشوارزنيجر
Ya lo hace, pierna derecha, directo al arco, golazo, 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 golazo.
This is Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio, your new live show about the beautiful game in all its glory, with Duane, Rollins and Kevin Laramee. MLS, EPL, La Liga, Champions League, all is fair game. Powered by the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us at sportspodcastingnetwork.com.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Victoria. Happy birthday to you. Sorry for singing, guys, but it's Victoria Day here in Canada, or as we like to call it, May 24A.
Yeah.
How y'all doing? It's Duane Rollins. Kevin Laramee is with me as well. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing pretty good. May 24 is not known as much in Quebec, and now it's the Fête des Patriotes in Quebec, but it's a holiday. It's Queen Victoria's birthday. And, I was wondering yesterday, why is Canada the only place in the Commonwealth where we actually have a statutory holiday for Queen Victoria? She wasn't even here. She was. You would think England would have it, or other closer country, but no, it's only us.
No, exactly. I think it's celebrated somewhere else in the Commonwealth, but not in England, or the UK, which is kind of odd. But yeah, nonetheless, it's May 24 up here, which is at least in Eastern. Sort of not outside of Quebec. It's a place that we drink. Basically, that's what we do. We go out in our lawn because it's summer finally, and we drink beer. Although it's very cold today in Ontario, Kevin. I don't know whether it's cold there or not, but it's cold.
Yeah,
here.
it's kind of cold and rainy, so yeah, it's not that great today too. It's a long weekend, like the first long weekend of summer, kind of. We're still not in summer, but a lot of people open up their cottages and go to camping. And well, if you're camping and listening to us right now, good luck, and I hope that you brought that blue tarp with you.
Well, exactly. I find that actually kind of amusing because what it is about Canada in May 24 is that we go camping, we go cottaging, but
we should know better.
Always good weather.
We should know better. Is it your first year? Is the first time you're actually on this planet in Canada at this time of year where sometimes it snows still? I'm exaggerating, but not if you're in Edmonton 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we should know better, Duane.
Yeah, no, I actually we'll talk about soccer in a second, but I actually when I lived out west, I drove from Maple Creek, Saskatchewan to Edmonton with my girlfriend at the time, and we had to stop in Red Deer because it was snowing on May 24 weekend. So, welcome to Canada, folks. May snow, sure. Anyway,
now Kevin. Now let's talk about soccer. Let's start. Maybe, I don't know. You want to start with Friday night? Maybe. Let's start. It's a month of champions, right? We've been saying this for a few weeks now, and this weekend we saw a lot of trophies being lifted, and the ones that were not guaranteed, that we didn't know yet. We've talked about Monaco, we've talked about Feyenoord in Eredivisie, we've talked about Chelsea being champions elect for a few weeks, and Madrid for the first time since 2012. Is La Liga champion with their victory over Malaga this weekend.
Certainly, and look, we've been talking all year about, well, at least for the last couple of months, about whether this Madrid team might be considered amongst the best ever. And if they do follow this up by beating Juve in the Champions League final, then I think we have to do that. But what surprises me about the fact that Madrid won the La Liga for the first time since 2012 is that it's been since 2012 since they won La Liga. Even Atleti won between then and now, so that is remarkable in many ways, Kevin.
Yes. You have Barca was very solid those years as well, and this year just a few slips here and there. And if you remember, after the Juve win in Champions League, it was not necessarily easy for a week or two for Barcelona in La Liga, and earlier this season they had trouble too just before the winter, and that spelled the doom. And it's always just one or two result, right? In La Liga, it's one drop, one loss, on the road, or a loss against a team you're not supposed to, and it will cost you down the end. We saw it was 1 point difference before the final game with the advantage to Madrid. Well, it was more than that, sorry. They only needed 1 point. That's what I mean. And so 1 point was needed before the last game to clinch La Liga, which is very small margins. And if Barcelona had a better result here and there, it would be a different discussion. But for now, I'm surprised, yes, that it's the first time since 2012. But Duane, if you go a calendar year, Champions League last year, let's just look at Ronaldo and then we'll look at Madrid. Since last summer, La Liga, the Champions League, the Euro, then you win La Liga, and you might win the Champions League again. So in 12 months, 4 trophies, and probably, arguably, 4 of the most important trophies in the world of football. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, well, World Club Cup too. Come on, let's not ignore the poor World Club Cup. But anyway, yeah, no,
got the FIFA World Cup club. Well, what's the actual name? I don't even like that. Tells you all you need to know.
I don't know, the thing they play in December. I think that's the name. Yeah, no, this is a remarkable team, and look, I think a lot of us want to find ways to not anoint them as the best team in the world, but it's really difficult to logically to not, because look at, like I said, a lot of people are pointing at Juve and saying that they are the favorite for the Champions League. Are they? Should they be? I'm not sure.
No, you can't. When you look at the squad of Madrid, they have to be favorite every game. Like I'm trying to be partial. I don't necessarily love Madrid more than any other team that I don't support. It's a team that I like to watch for their quality, for the way they play. For there's pomp and circumstance, according to Real Madrid, if you want to use that analogy. But still, you have to give credit to this team and the way they're managed and the way they're executing and the way they're on a roll. And I don't even think a concrete wall will basically stop them right now. So I don't think Juve. I think they might be the best team they faced in the last 2 months. Would it be enough? Madrid's motivated, right? They're going like lifting trophies and having another opportunity to lift another trophies, and Ronaldo stamping his season as maybe the best calendar year in the history of a soccer player. And Madrid's a favorite.
No, for sure. And look, why is it that we prefer Messi over Ronaldo? Because we do. Societally,
I don't. But the majority of people do.
Yeah. I mean, Messi is this little underachiever, I guess, or overachiever, I should say, that we all want to cheer for. Although, really, he's a guy that's got in trouble with the law for evading taxes. He's
you want to know what? I think I just figured it out. We're jealous. Duane, he's so beautiful, Ronaldo. Like, always the hair, not one hair out of place, does the right thing, and we think it's for the wrong reason, gives millions and millions and millions of dollars to charities every year. He's nice to kids. He's nice to people. Yeah, he is so driven that people sees that drive as an arrogance. And I've been interested about the Ronaldo factor because, if you put in other sports and other contexts, the guy who always does the right thing, always, like, people are trying to relate to him. And we can't see the flaws. We don't see the flaws. So we imagine that somewhere in a dark closet, there's a lot of a skeleton for Ronaldo. But if you go back to his history, before United, at United, and further on, if you ask people who was the best worker, who was the most driven player with the biggest ambition, but doing the work to get there, it was Cristiano Ronaldo. He has worked for everything that he owns. And maybe because we can't relate, or it's hard to relate, or trying to relate to him shows us what we do, not necessarily to the best of our abilities, day in, day out, and he does. And maybe it's for that reason. We would like to be Ronaldo. We want to have a beer with Messi.
Fair enough. Yeah, we all want to be Ronaldo, really, in our deep, darkest soul of our mind. Although I would not want to be Ronaldo in the sheer sense that he played for Manchester United, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, just switch the red for the blue, Duane. There's an alternate universe where Ronaldo might have played for City when he was a kid, so that works.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's really not the rational part of my brain talking there, but yeah, you're right in many ways that he's very pretty. He's very good, and we all just don't understand him. We all look at Messi, I think, and we go, just there, but for the grace of God, it could be me, because I could look like Messi.
I'm taller than Messi. I'm more good looking than Messi. Yeah.
I'm not richer than Messi, though. By the way, patreon.com.
A long ways to go. Patreon.com/sports podcasting network. But no, yeah. So I think there's a little bit of that, right? Where we're not as relatable. As you see Messi, you see flaws. He's got family that some part of his family are crazy, and his uncle get him into trouble financially, and blah blah blah. So it's kind of more relatable. We're like, yeah, okay, I get him. I understand why. The other one trying to be perfect, yeah, I don't get him. I don't relate to that.
And the way he stands before he takes a free kick, though, come on. What? Come on.
Well,
what do you do?
Why not, though, right? If it becomes your thing and you become known for it, why not go with it? Like, he embraces the hate, and that's something that people have difficulty grasping it, too. Like, he's not bothered by the fact that you don't like him, and that makes you not like him even more.
Well, he's a heel. You're a wrestling guy. So.
I was trying to find a way to describe this without going there, but yeah, he's the heel. He's Mr. Perfect. He's the perfect heel. He does everything better than every single one of you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Sigh. I mean, seriously, Cristiano, they're not that big. You don't need to stand like that. Come on. I mean, maybe they are. I don't know.
Maybe they are.
All right. Real Madrid, La Liga champions for the first time since 2012, which is we'll congratulate them, and we'll watch in a week and a half to the Champions League final, but it should be fun by that point. Anyway, that's in the last 4 minutes of this block, Kevin. Let's look at the Premier League. It didn't end in the most dramatic fashion. There were really only 2 games, or 3, I guess, that mattered yesterday.
Well, there was a minute that mattered. Like, have you ever seen 2 guard of honors in the same match? One done by the opposing team for the champions elect, and then one made by actual Chelsea players at the 26th minute. It was technically at the 28th, but they tried to do it for the 26th for John Terry Zegzet as a Chelsea player with the guard of honor, guarding him, guiding him off the pitch.
Well, yeah, and John, we just talked about heels. I mean, you're a Chelsea fan, so
yeah, but you're right. He's with us. You like him, and he's not. Well, tough luck for you.
Yeah, and well, what is John Terry's career highlight? Really, it's he's won the Champions League. He's won the Premier League 4 times now, 3 times. I'm trying to keep it off stub anyway. A lot of times.
5.
Anyway.
I think it's 5 league titles. No?
All right.
Yeah, from 2004, it's 5 league titles and 1 Champions League.
And he's most famous basically for those that aren't from Chelsea for putting his strip back on to go back out to raise the Champions League trophy. But nonetheless, look, yeah, he was a great player that peed a little people off here and there. He was, as we just talked about a minute ago, he was a heel too, Kevin.
Oh yeah, he was a heel, but he embraces it. And you can make jokes if you want. If you've been reading memes over the years, you all know what we're talking about. But talking about good, talking about bad, but talk about it. And that helped John Terry, with his hard work, stay relevant for the last 2 decades at Chelsea.
Well, fair enough. Yeah. And, I'm not going to lie. My highlight of John Terry's career was the handshake that didn't happen. But nonetheless, it's all good. All right. So, looking beyond Chelsea, though, looking beyond yesterday, I mean, Liverpool obviously won the Champions League spot as well, and I guess the story is that Arsenal did not.
Wow,
that really is the headlines today. But
Donald Trump is president, and Arsenal didn't finish 4th or higher. What's happening?
There's no trophy for 5th place, Arsenal fans. No trophy for 5th place, but. Looking beyond that, Kevin, this is a bit of a wide-ranging question and maybe an unfair one in many ways, but what would be your personal highlight of the Premier League season? When you think back on Premier League 2016-17, what do you think of?
Oh, well, obviously, I'll think about Chelsea winning the league. I'll think about as a whole, though, the rise of the 3-man back line. And the 5-man with the wingers of Chelsea, but others as well. The rise of tactics, maybe you would put it this way, or the confirmation that the Premier League is tough to win when you have to play on 3 front in your entire season, being the league, Europe, and the FA Cup. 2 is fine. 3 might be a little too much to get the amount of result. 30 wins, of course, for Chelsea is a lot. But the rise of the 3-man backline, it's not with Chelsea. We've seen it used a lot of places across the league this year, Chelsea being the most successful, yes. And ever since that change of formation or mentality more than a formation for Chelsea, they went on a crazy run. So the rise of the three-man backline, the rise of tactics would be maybe two phrases I would use to describe the season that just finished yesterday.
Fair enough. And look, to answer my own question, my highlight's going to always. Well, it's the Wenger out. I mean, that's what my lasting image of this season is going to be. It's the amount of pushback we got from Arsenal fans, from Arsenal, the general public that cheers for Arsenal, and is Wenger going to be out? Well, we'll find out in the days ahead. I mean, they have a cup coming next week, and that's probably going to be something that they lean on pretty heavily on the season. They should, because it's an important trophy, but that really is the lasting image of this season. And, from a City perspective, if you want me to talk partisanship, it's just frustration. I was talking to people yesterday at the City bar when I watched the second half of the game. I managed to get out there to watch the second half. And it's strange as a City fan, because we finished third in the Premier League and won a lot of games in a row at the end, and did a lot of good things. And we have this new Brazilian starlet that's come around that everyone loves and thinks that maybe he's going to be dramatic in the Premier League coming on. But we're still frustrated because there's so much money and there's so much expectations with this club, and Pep coaches this club, but yet we didn't win. So it was a strange year that year. But anyway,
and even for Pep himself, it's the first time I think in maybe forever that he doesn't finish first or second, or he doesn't even win a trophy in a season, and that's something he's not used to. And he was a bit deflated after the game yesterday about saying, like, look, we're going to have to readjust the situation. I'm going to have to be better. I'm going to have to ask for more of my players, and we're going to have to go get some players in the transfer market. So there was a certain Dan aspect to Pep himself after the game yesterday. So that would go with the sentiment that you were expressing.
No, precisely. It's the lowest that he has ever finished as a manager. Third. Think about that for a minute. Third is as lowest as he's ever finished as a manager, which tells you a little bit about the type of clubs that he manages. But at any rate,
he managed Barcelona and Bayern Munich. What do you expect?
Yeah. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with a Canadian review.
You are listening to Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio. Visit sportspodcastingnetwork.com for more.
And welcome back. I was waiting for the Canadian review bumper, Kevin, but again, it's not there today.
It's lost in the ether. I have difficulty getting a grasp on it, so I have to work on that.
All right. Let's start with, I guess, Friday. I guess we might as well start from the top and continue. I don't know. I'm trying to make a Drake reference. It's not working, but Toronto 1-1 with New York. There will not be a record-setting streak for the Reds. They did manage the draw on Friday though, so they have only lost the one game all year. I don't know what to say about this one. It was one of Josie missed the penalty. I guess that's where we start. Like, how is it that what I think is the best team in MLS? And sorry, I'm from Toronto. I know I've followed this club for a long time, but they really are the best team in MLS right now. How do they manage to not be able to score penalties, Kevin? How is that a case? Going back to the MLS Cup last year, obviously.
True. Yeah, it's, I don't know, over complicating the situation. Maybe you need to just hit the ball. Sometimes you just don't even think about it. Don't say, okay, I've been left the last 10 times. I'm going to go right. Or I've been right. I'm going to go left. I'm going to go down the middle, or just hit the ball sometimes. I don't know. Is there actually something there? Is it just a fluke? Is it a coincidence? It's those type of things that it's hard to correlate between each other. And if there is a correlation between each missed penalty kick, I don't know. Should you put somebody else in Josie or Gio? I don't know. It's kind of a fluke thing.
Yeah, there's a debate here in Toronto who should take the next one, and my answer to that question is Vasquez, because he seems like a guy that could take penalties, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But nonetheless, it
Put
was
Ricketts. Like if he's on the field, put Ricketts. He's been pretty good lately. I don't know.
sure.
It's who
Hell, let
it doesn't matter. It's somebody hit the ball.
put Bono in there. I don't know, whatever. Someone, not the guys that keep missing. And that was a terrible kick on Friday as well. Josie, like it was the perfect height to save. It was right in the middle. It was just a terrible kick. But at any rate, not much to do there other than to lament the fact. But think about this for a second, guys. If you're Toronto FC, they have 26 points right now. They have 26 points. It's May the 22nd. 26 points already. They've missed 2 kicks that you should always score a kick. Like, I mean, is it wrong for me to say that when it's
They should
a
have 30?
that it should be a goal?
They should have 30 points. Maybe.
Yeah, well, they've lost 4 points
Exactly.
based on what they. Yeah, it's insane.
That's
they are
crazy.
very good though, and look, the game on Friday was for long stretches in the first half. They were trying to find their way. They were trying to find what they were doing, but they still weren't allowing great chances, and they still ultimately figured it out. The goal by Giroud, which apparently he told the boys in the room that he was going to score. He was going to come on. He was going to score. He said that in the room, I guess, leading in. It was a beautiful goal too. The header, the dive, it was brilliant. But it's just very difficult for me as someone who's observed this team for a long time, Kevin, to be able to look at them and go, okay, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Like I'm assuming, Kevin, that I've died and I'm in some kind of heaven.
Well,
Only City would
not.
be better. So maybe that's not the case.
Yeah, I was like, I kind of hope not, because I'll be a little bit disappointed if that's the case. I'm like, really? That's really all right. But anyways, no, it's kind of weird. I have to say too, to see Toronto top of the East, 26 points, 5 points ahead of Chicago Fire, which is kind of weird. Who would have thought about 3 years ago that the Fire and Toronto FC would be top of the Eastern Conference? Yeah, weird times. Weird times.
Bizarro world. So what is up is down, basically. Anyway, let's talk about the Whitecaps real quickly. They did get the result against Squirny, and I was talking off air that what's strange about the result, the Whitecaps result, is as a TFC fan, you had to be cheering for the Whitecaps, and that was an odd experience because Toronto's right now comparing itself to the top teams in the league, not necessarily in the East, and that result actually helped TFC in the sense that it kept a Supporters' Shield rival off the scoreboard, but a good result for the Whitecaps nonetheless, and they seem to have turned things around a little bit. I'm still not sure whether they're truly a contending team, but they seem to have turned things around a little bit, Kevin.
Yeah, and that tackle on Davies by Espindola was a little harsh. It was yeah, it was not necessarily the prettiest tackle and not the most gentle one I've seen in a little while. But Teixeira and Tim Parker on the goals for Vancouver. Vancouver win at home. Now going to play Montreal on Tuesday at home as well, before traveling to Montreal to play the second leg of the M1 Canadian Championship. Their next 2 games for Vancouver, though, 3 points. Slowly but surely, Duane, they're making what seemed a terrible beginning of the season, which it never really reached the panic point. They never really reached the bottom. Now they're 6th, and they're trending upward, only 2 points behind the Timbers. The season, I don't want to say that it turned around, because I don't think it ever was truly in that direction. I have seen many parts of games where Vancouver looked really well, were really good this season. They were playing really well, and they had a certain flair offensively that I was not expecting. At some point, Breck Shea becomes influential. He becomes a super sub late in games. Freddie Monchero has been very noteworthy for Vancouver. So no, they are trending upwards in my opinion, and Vancouver have, if you want to use that expression, turned their season around.
They started from the bottom. Now they're kind of in the middle. They're okay. There's my Drake reference. Kevin, let's talk about the impact. Quite the result.
Big win.
Where
Big
the hell
win
did that come from?
Well, it came from Jeremy Rufo sending off Diego Chara for a slap to the face of Nacho Piatti. It wasn't really a slap, but kind of, and it was like, but yeah, he got sent off. Nacho Piatti, Duane, was all over the field on Saturday. He was questionable before the beginning of the game, and 2 goals and a great performance later. Nacho Piatti, man of the match, easily, hands down. We saw Montreal trying to be effective, but not even 20 minutes in, after there was a penalty before Diego Chara was sent off. So Montreal in the 13th minute, Blair Zamali is making a run towards the box. He stops and tries to turn around. And the defender for Portland tugs him a little bit. I don't even say dragged him or tripped him. He touched him and tugged him, which gave Zamali the opportunity to just fall, and penalty was called. Like, yeah, it was a foul because he actually touched and tugged him, and he blatant, and everybody saw it. So it's that question where, yeah, the guy did put a little bit of too much of mustard on the hot dog, but there was a hot dog to begin with. So the foul was called. Penalty, Piatti buries it, and Montreal, just a few minutes later, gets that sent off. And Montreal took a 2-goal lead later on with Cal Fisher, which Cal Fisher had a very big contact with a Timbers Portland player, was wide open gash on his forehead, was bleeding all over. It took about like 7-8 minutes before players can get back up. And Chara was I don't think it was Chara. I forget who it was at that moment. We can really see from where I was. And you had a long period of time when nothing happens, and then Kyle Fisher comes out, gets bandaged up, big bandana on his head, comes back, and just a few minutes later, just before the end of the first half, scores the second goal for Montreal off a Blair Zamali corner. Once again, Blair Zamali, slowly but surely, not in the big spotlight, but sets up and prepares goal with his free kick, with his corners, or with his play in the box that went to a penalty. And eventually, just before the end of the first half, Duane, Portland cut down the lead to 1. And at that moment, there was a feeling that, oh no, it's happening again. The Impact have a lead now, and Portland's on their way back. But it wasn't meant to be, because in the second half, for Montreal's 375th birthday, Nacho Piatti with another goal, and Oyongo finished a great play by Balou Tabla to make it 4-1. And bonne fête, Montréal.
And I sang happy birthday off the top of the show for Victoria. I should have sang it for Montreal. Indeed, 175, correct?
375, yes.
So yeah, 175. That's like young. That's like West Coast young, man. 375. Montreal's been around a long time. All right. Look, at this point in the season, Kevin, you've seen 2 games since the arrival of the new DP. Are you confident that Montreal can turn things around?
Yes, Montreal was a better team than 11th. That's for sure. In my opinion, they're a team that, yeah, maybe we over hyped them in the offseason because of the playoff run, and we have that fresh in our mind. So the lack of acquisitions before Zamali made for Montreal being where they were. Now Zamali's there. Yeah, they're still 10th. They're 13 points, 2 behind Atlanta and 3 behind New England and Philly in 8th and 7th. But for Montreal, I think there is a time to turn things around, and it's now. Patrice Bernier has been instrumental. 96.4% of his passes completed on a Saturday, Duane. He only missed 2. That's kind of crazy, and I think there's a big correlation with Patrice Bernier's play, Blair Zamali there, and players like Anthony Jackson-Hamel, and during the lead up to the game, saying, look, I don't really care who plays, we're all part of the team. But because of experience and conversation and knowledge and chemistry with certain players, Patrice always told me when he's on the field how to react, how to play, and how to play off his balls and run and get behind defenders. That's what Patrice Bernier says to Anthony Jackson-Hamel. And you have that confidence from Patrice Bernier, that reassurance. And I think it's not a stranger to the success of the Impact on the field when Patrice Bernier is there. I think those two are related. And when you do 96.4% of your pass, when you are successful at that rate, that's crazy numbers.
They are crazy numbers, and it's. I'm trying to get a segue here, Kevin. I can't find anything that segues to crazy, but it is crazy that Montreal is 375 years old now. So happy birthday to Montreal. Happy birthday to Queen Victoria. Happy, Monday to the rest of you. I'm going to say goodbye on the show right now, Kevin, because it is a holiday, and I'm going to go out and enjoy the rain, because we're in Canada, it's raining crappy, but I'm going to go enjoy it nonetheless. And until that time, Kevin, as always, I'm going to have you say goodbye.
Well, until tomorrow, 10 a.m., you can follow Duane on Twitter at 24th Minute and myself at Kev Laramee. You like the show, you like the network, go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com/sports podcasting network. The way we can have a pat on the back and a 5-star here in the podcast world is with Patreon. $1 a month, a pledge, a patronage, a support goes a long way. We can produce live shows with your support like this and more. We're going to have a brand new studio, headquarters studio late in this year, and we'll have video capabilities and many more capabilities that with your support we can do. So patreon.com/sports podcasting network. And as always, until tomorrow, have a great soccer. You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.